Hello, I am CherylAnn Crego. I'm the owner and director here at Chef Kent Getzin Consulting, and I'm here today with our owner, Chef Kent Getzin. And
Hi, I'm Kent Getzin.
I also have the we have the delight of being business and life partners, and we're coming to you today from our living room.
Yep, in Chelan, Washington.
Yes. So I just wanted to ask Kent a few questions about Fresh Eyes Review today. First question, what exactly is a Fresh Eyes Review?
A Fresh Eyes review is kind of almost like it sounds. We come in with our brand new eyes. We've never been in your district, and we have no preconceived notions or understandings of your operation, and so we just come in and take a look around and give you our fresh eyes perspective. And that comes from, when I say our fresh eyes perspective, I mean who are we anyway? But I mean um, come with lots of experience.
Yes, and that's the next great question is who are you anyway, and why do you have the experience to give a Fresh Eyes Review?
Okay, so when I was about 12, my mom said, "Hey, if you cook dinner, she knew I was interested in cooking. She said, if you cook dinner, I'll clean up." And I'm like, I'm all over that. So I made dinner and she cleaned up, and then that kind of started this whole thing where I wanted to be a chef when I grew up, if I grew up. And then you fast forward a whole bunch of years, and I did culinary school in New York, and I worked as a chef for 20 years and was growing a big family. I had 5 children and was missing out on that family thing that chefs miss out on because they work too much. And then I started working for the school district as a food service director. Didn't know what that was, but that's how I got started. And then I did that for 17 years. And at the end of that, I resigned to start this project with you. And
well, during that time, those 17 years at Wenatchee schools, what kinds of things were you doing there that would set you up for a Fresh Eyes Review in schools that want to do more scratch cooking?
Okay, well, just I ran the program for 17 years, so it's I knew the ins and outs of school food service, and then we were also doing a lot of scratch cooking, and then we started buying a more local produce because the Wenatchee School District is in a really rich agricultural area, so we found some great farmers to provide food for us, and so we were buying a lot of food locally, and that kind of got people's attention, and so I started doing some little side hustle gigs, teaching little districts around Wenatchee how to do some scratch cooking using local food, and so that's how that all happened. So I think that's what kind of gives us the, sometimes chefs come in. You may have invited a chef to your district, and that's great. Chefs know how to cook, and they know a lot about food, and that's super great. Sometimes what chefs don't have is K-12 and culinary, which is an interesting combination. So, and my partner, our partner who works in California, who lives in California, she has 23 years as a director in a district there in Central California, and also a lifelong restaurant, country club, a winery background in culinary. So with that many years experience, we come in and take a look at your operation, especially if you're interested in more scratch cooking, because that's really our jam, is like the scratch cooking thing.
Yeah, we work with a chef partner in California, but we also have recently started working with a chef partner in Washington State.
Yes.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that relationship?
Sure. So this whole thing started with just Cheryl Ann and I with this idea that we're going to figure out how to train school food service folks to cook from scratch. And so I started going out and doing those gigs. When I say gig, I mean like training days. Go drive to a district, usually in my state, and then I started getting out of state, and which was really great. And then start running into cool people like this guy over in the Bellingham area who started a relationship with a chef and a culinary guy with K-12 experience in a beautiful school district. Like Bellingham is like top notch. You should look that up. But anyway, so collaborations are like amazing, and so coming in with 4 fresh eyes, I mean, instead of 2, is really good for.
Yeah, which makes me think about how great you are at collaborating not only with other chefs with K-12 experience, but with school food service directors and their staff. It's one of my favorite things about watching you at work. It's the way that you connect with school food pros.
I like you.
I like you too. It's kind of, handy.
Yes.
When you're business and life partners that
Yes.
you like each other.
Yes.
So one question then, next question is, what has been your most memorable discovery when you've been doing a Fresh Eyes review?
Oh, memorable discovery. That's a really wide swath of question.
Yeah.
Most horrifying or the most lovely?
I think we can get to that later, but just something that really stands out to you.
I love working with school food service folks. Okay. Used to call them lunch ladies, right? I mean, but there's more than just ladies doing this work. So, but in my heart, lunch lady is a sweet place. Okay. Working with the teams in these school kitchens and, generally, without a ton of culinary experience. Okay. Folks who came to the workforce without maybe a bunch of skills, got their kids raised up till kindergarten, and they come into the workforce to work, and the fun thing is they love to cook. Most of them, many of them, not everybody. Many love to cook. So when I get to work with a team, and I get to know them over the course of maybe only hours, but also sometimes days or weeks, I get lucky and I get a few clients who we get to do some long-term commitments with. I just love the people and the mix of people. There's just really cool people who love to cook, who are cook enthusiasts, I would call them. Like a hobbyist cook. I love to cook, and it's my jam. I'm not a paid professional cook. Well, actually, that's not true. They're paid professional cooks. School food people are paid professional cooks.
Yes.
So anyway, long story short, love working with lunch folks, school food service pros, people who love to feed kids and who just want to do it better and want to feel proud of the work they do.
Mm-hmm. So Fresh Eyes Review is an opportunity for schools to get this new perspective on things that could be problematic in the way they are doing scratch cooking, or as they want to build up a scratch cooking program. Like, what are some of the things that are going to get in the way? So what have you noticed? What have been some of your biggest concerns, or what's really gotten to you?
Oh, I have a big list. Where's this? Everyone is facing a slightly different scenario in every school, and we've been to so many schools. And the funny thing is they're all the same and they're all a little bit different. Okay, I mean, so many of similar problems and concerns, but also, to you as that person in that kitchen, that's your unique situation, and so totally respect that. We just, we see things that can be done different, better, stronger, faster all the time, even if we're not looking for them. When we go to a district and we go there with a purpose to go do this thing, and then we get sidetracked by that thing that they're doing, and it's like, oh wow, I could show you a way to make that so much easier, and literally have trimmed off hours and hours off of their workload. Just on a project, on making granola, for instance.
Oh yeah, it feels good, and it's really inspiring to you then when you see a school take something that you've suggested and they really run with it.
Yeah, and that they really benefit from it from dollar and cents perspective, and lovely food for children.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and still I want to push you a little bit harder
Okay.
on this question, because I know that it's a difficult thing to answer, and that is, what's something that's really gotten to you that you've seen that's been problematic, that you're like, oh my goodness, we really need to be able
Plastic
to do
wrap
something.
food.
There we go. Okay. Plastic wrapped food. Yes. Can you say a little bit more about that?
Cupping food and plastic wrapped food. Plastic bags of food, or plastic wrapped food, anything to do with plastic and food. I'm just completely done with that. I'm just done with it. And I think we should be done with it as an industry. And you know, when I say done with it, I mean within reason, and it's not the flick of a switch. Just like learning to scratch cook is not the flick of a switch. Neither is stopping doing something that has become the standard way of doing business in schools. You know, buying plastic things and cupping food because it feels like we're going to get the kids through the line faster or whatever. But I can tell you, the plastic creates not only a barrier between the food and the child, but it creates a barrier between the server and the child. Because we can pack the food up, we can set it out like this, and we can step away, and the kids they learn to take the food themselves, and they go out and they go have lunch. But there's something really lovely about serving a child and asking them if they want this. Do you want some vegetables? How about this delicious blah, blah, blah that we just made? And that is more tedious.
Right.
But it is the best part. It's what drives me.
Right. Is connecting with
Yeah.
staff and kids. We could have a whole other video on how to help schools move away from using so much plastic. And in a Fresh Eyes review, you're identifying that for the first time and hopefully coming up with ways to talk with schools about little baby steps they can take.
And maybe just restructuring the line is all it takes. Like, instead of bringing the kids in this way and going out that way, why don't we bring them in this way and go out that way? And where do we put the salad bar? Sometimes we just put the salad bar over here and it's almost like a optional. But what if you integrated it right into the service line? And maybe as you're hearing me say these words, you're like, oh, we couldn't do that in our school. You have every right to say that, and you probably should be skeptical. But I want to tell you, we've hardly been thwarted in our ability to help a district come up with a better way of serving kids through the line that speeds things up, feeds them better quality food, teaches them how to serve themselves from open food buffet lines, which is a skill, a human skill, right? I mean, like, adults have to do it all the time. You go places and you eat off of buffet lines. If the first time you do that is like in 9th grade, you might be like embarrassed, when you not know how to use a pair of tongs or something. So my personal opinion is, let's stop putting wrapped plastic portion controlled food onto trays and pushing it out for kids to self-serve. Let's figure out how to feed kids, like engage kids in feeding them, like ask them. I mean, offer versus serve is a thing, that we also see districts do, but not very well sometimes, or even like within regulatory requirements. So, and so much food waste. Okay, I could just go ranting, so I'm gonna let you ask me more questions.
Okay. Well, that's another really important point. I think that you often find food waste, and you
so
also have ideas and methods that you can help schools with that are geared toward their very specific situation. Another thing that you made me think of as you were talking is the pride that gets fostered in the school food professionals as they are connecting with kids and feeding them high quality scratch cooked food, even if it's just the ranch dressing that they figured out how to make. So the next question I have is, in Fresh Eyes review, in that process, have you found things that really light you up?
Yes. Like when I see a salad bar being utilized in the way it's supposed to be, like open containers of food, not plastic wrapped, not 4 strawberries in a plastic bag with a zip tie, just open pans of food and with at least 6 or 8 or 10 varieties of fresh food that kids can self-select, that gets me going, because I know for sure, 100% guaranteed, that there will be less food waste at that school than there will be at schools where they're required to take the reimbursable meal right off of the front line in front of the servers. And that is sometimes it's the most labor efficient way of doing it, because maybe we don't have enough people, or currently don't have enough people, or we just haven't maybe cast a vision for our school that we just do things a little different to engage kids in a way that's more engaging, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Um, but there's ways of making that whole salad bar thing work. One of the things I think is like, if you don't have a salad bar in your school, it almost should be illegal. I just think that salad bars are absolutely required in schools.
Those are some fighting words.
And it's to me it is the lowest bar. So you're the lowest bar would be if you're not doing any scratch cooking, but you're doing a salad bar, then you're doing scratch cooking. Because the first part of scratch cooking is cutting the vegetables and the fruits. Or farm to school, like when you decide you're going to buy local food, and usually like I'm talking about like fruits and vegetables. I mean, there's lots of ways to do local purchasing, but one really common way is to buy apples or carrots or lettuce from a local farmer. But the commitment is now that I bought local food, I have raw carrots in my kitchen. What the heck do I do with those now? What if I've never cooked them before?
What if I've never used a knife before?
Exactly. Or what if I don't have a machine to cut that? Or we do 1,000 lunches every day. Well, I'm not going to sit there and cut 1,000 pounds of carrots, a week to feed those kids. All those are valid questions, and that's what in a Fresh Eyes review, not only do you get to have just us tell you what we think you're doing right or wrong or you could improve on, but we give you strategies to go. We answer those questions, like when we say you should try this, like this fruit and vegetable bar, and they go, well, we can't do all that veg prep because we're doing 800 or 1,000 meals a lunch period. And it's like, okay, well, we have ways to help you with that too. I mean, we have ways, there's machines, there's products, there's tools, there's fresh cut programs. There's so many ways. That means, honestly, we take away your excuses, no offense, but we're going to take away your excuses because it is doable, 100% doable, and we see it all the time. And we have lots of examples that are just stellar, shining examples of people doing school food service in a way that is inspiring. And pride-inducing for you as the worker in the kitchen, I mean, one thing is to love feeding kids, and you just do that out of the goodness of your heart and because it's good work. But there's a whole nother dimension when you make something from scratch that comes from your heart and your body and your hands, and you give it to kids, and the kids flip out, and they're like, what? That the kind of thing that will make you go, okay, I'm coming back tomorrow. And I busted my butt yesterday doing this work, but that's the kind of hard work you want to do. Like, I don't know, I don't mind working hard as long as it feels like I'm doing something positive and not repetitive, and cupping fruit and doing packaging strawberries in plastic bags. Abandon those practices and just start putting out fresh cut food out in front of kids in open containers. And of course you're going to have to train them, and I guarantee you it's messier. It is messier. I go to kitchens all the time, and we walk in, it's like, oh, they don't cook in this kitchen. Because the kitchen is so spotless. I mean, one thing you can say about school food folks is they are very clean, and they keep things very nicely clean. It's beautiful. I love that. But if your kitchen is too clean, you're not cooking hard enough. So, because cooking is messy business, and it will require more of your time, and you will be bending over, and you will be sweeping, and you will be wiping a lot more. But the rewards are vast, for not only for you, but for the kids mostly.
Yeah. So what are some of the benefits, the biggest benefits to a school district when they do a Fresh Eyes review?
The biggest benefit is just like you get to have someone else's perspective that had, between Chef Laura and I, we have 17 years plus the 9 years of working in schools that I have doing consulting, and her 23 years plus her many, many years also doing the same thing. We just have so much experience. You get to see, and we ran successful programs. We both left our districts with smiles on our faces and pats on the back and thank yous for what we did. And so we left, we did good work. And so we understand school nutrition, and we understand food to a deep degree. And so that's not bragging, that's just the facts. I have 45 years experience doing everything around food and school food service. That's a long time. Like, it's embarrassing to even say. I started when I was 4. No, maybe not. But I think that's the best thing, is just, and you being the recipient of this really it would behoove you to be super open-minded and and we're very kind, and we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. When we come in, and we have some, sometimes we have some distressing things to tell you. I've seen some stuff. Okay, but we're kind, and we're going to show you. We're going to point things out to you gently, and we understand where you're coming from and the things you face. So there's no shame. We might feel a little shame, just because it's nature, but we're gonna show you some ways. And honestly, we go to districts all the time thinking, because before we go to your district, we're gonna meet with you several times on a video call, and we're gonna get the lay of the land. And you might even send us some videos of your kitchens. We might ask you for that. We'll talk about your equipment. We talk about your current levels of scratch cooking, maybe what you're buying locally, if not. What are your things that stand out in your kids' minds? What do they like? What is the staff level? Skill level? What do you have any people in your team that are highly trained? But there's some schools that do. We're going to get all that information before we get there, and then we're going to go there, and we're going to go around with you. Ideally, we tag along with you. You tour us through your district, and we're going to show you some things that are going to be really eye-opening. But not only just to expose them to the light, which is, sometimes embarrassing. You might, oh, wow, I didn't know that was happening. I've seen that happen before. But the thing is, we're going to show you the path around that now. Now. That's an obstacle to your success, and we're just going to show you how to get around it. And it usually is not that difficult. It's just something you had not thought of because your experience hadn't allowed that.
Mm-hmm. We've been doing it the same way for so long. It's something that doesn't even occur to them.
Exactly.
If someone wants to learn more about doing a Fresh Eyes review in their district, how can they contact you?
Well, one thing that's a really great place to start to me is on Facebook. And I know a lot of people aren't using Facebook as much. But I have a Facebook group and I have a Facebook page, Chef Kent Getzin Consulting. If you just type in Chef Kent Getzin, it's going to pop right up. And you're going to see all kinds of pictures and videos and free recipes and things. I share a lot on there, and I have a lot of traction there. So I always share my stuff, so you can see what's going on currently with Chef Kent Getzin Consulting, and they can drool over the food because literally the food is unbelievable.
Looks amazing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can reach out to me. My email is the best thing to do, or call me. 509-668-8578 or kentgetzin@gmail.com. Very easy to get a hold of me. And I answer my emails every day. And I'll call you right back and we'll schedule a call. That's always the way we start. And you don't have to call me because you know the answers you want to hire. You just have to call, and I just love to talk to people about what they're doing in school and how they can do it better. I'm really committed to this. We are committed to this as a company. And we just ask, just give us a few minutes and just chat it up. And if you don't hire us, that's no problem. We hopefully that you will be inspired to do a little bit more scratch cooking every day.
All right. Thank you so much. And we hope to see you again soon.
Thank you.